Welcome to Mama Rachel's Southern Cooking. Today I'm going to do some homemade biscuits. I've had several asking for them, so today I'm going to do some homemade biscuits. I've got my oven preheating on 425, and I put my biscuits in a cast iron skillet majority of the time, and I've got probably about a tablespoon of butter. I put it in and let it melt while I'm making my biscuits. But you start out with self-rising flour. And I've got a cup scooper in my flour, so I'm gonna measure out how much to use. Okay, it's about 4.5 cups of self-rising flour. Everybody usually has their favorites when it comes to flour. You know, it's just something, we all got brands that we all like. You can use whatever kind that you like. And I add a little bit of salt, just however your preference is. And I've got 3/4 of a stick of butter, and I'm going to put it in the microwave and melt it. It don't have to be all the way melted. There's a lot of people, and it does make your biscuits probably a little bit flakier if you want to just put cold butter in. Some people use the shortening. My aunt used to always use shortening when she done her homemade biscuits. But you don't, I mean, you know, it's just whatever your preference is, but this is how I do it. Okay, and these are going to be buttermilk biscuits, but I do mine a little bit different. I like to do them half and half, half regular milk and half buttermilk. The reason why I do that is, seems like they just rise a little bit better. And I'm just making a little hole out in the middle of my flour. I'm going to start off at about 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. And about 3/4 of a cup of regular milk. And then I'm putting my butter down. That's the last part that I do. I always put your milk and stuff in first before you put your butter in. And then just use your hands. And I just take a little bit of flour at a time and bring it to the middle of inside with my milk and butter. And just work it in gradually. One thing with biscuits is you don't want to overwork them. Now, you can, when you get these, you don't want them, let me try to figure out how I'm trying to say this. You don't want them too heavy. You don't want to put so much flour in them that they're real heavy. That's the best way I can describe it. But you can lay these out on the counter if you wanted to and cut them out, or you can drop them. Now I'm going to add just a little bit more buttermilk in. Right at about 1/2 cup more. Just break it down a little bit at a time off the sides. I'm trying to get where you can see it. I'm going to take a little bit of my flour and go over the top. And as soon as my skillet gets ready, I'll be right back and show you how to roll it. Welcome back, everybody. I've got my skillet out, and you can see the melted butter that's in it. If there's a little extra, you know, you don't want them swimming in it. If there's a little extra, you could pour it back in your little bowl that you melted your butter in, and that way you can save that for the tops of your biscuits. But now let me see if I can get to where you can see. I always go to the side, the extra flour that you've got in, and coat your hands real good. And you do this each time that you take out a piece of dough. But just pinch you off a piece, put it in your hand, and just barely, just sort of roll it right in your hand, just a little bit. You don't want to overwork them, and just set them right down into your skillet. This will make a pretty good batch for about, it's according to how much you like biscuits, but this will make a good batch for about anywhere from 2 to 4 people. But now, the flour that's in the bottom, you can sift that and reuse it. If you're making gravy, you can use it for that. Now, my aunt used to have one big bowl, and when she would make her biscuits, that was the only thing she used that flour for. And she just saved, that bowl and done her biscuits in it every time, and the flour was already in there. She just kept it in, and she just do the middle of it, and it was fine. It was just perfect. But homemade biscuits has always been a staple in most Southern homes. I used to stay with my granny a lot when I was younger, and she always, as the saying is, she went to bed with the chickens and got up with the chickens. And she would have a full breakfast on the table every morning. When she would get me up at 7 o'clock, she'd have a full breakfast on the table. Homemade biscuits and fried eggs and sausage and bacon. She would have it all already done. Let me wash my hands. Okay, as you can see, the biscuits is all good in the pan. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let me fix these where you can see them. The extra butter that I've got, now I'm just going to butter the tops of them. And you can butter them again when you get them out if you want to. The butter gives them a real pretty brown top on them. It helps them to brown and look real pretty. But I'm going to put these on in the oven. And My oven is set at 425, and they should be done in about 20 to 25 minutes. And I'll get them out and show you what they look like. Howdy, y'all. Welcome back. Our biscuits is done, so I'm going to get them out of the oven. See how good them looks. If you got every bit of butter left, you can always swipe them a little bit extra if you want to. Now these are piping hot. They're just fresh out of the oven. This is what they look like. But that's my take on homemade biscuits. So everybody remember to like and subscribe. And we thank you all. And God bless.